What's up, everybody? It's your favorite, completely ignorant reviewer's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Power Rangers Dino Megazord from Flame Toys. Now, I say completely ignorant because, well, sometimes I can get ignorant, but aside from that, I also do not know anything really about Power Rangers other than some of the kind of dynamics of how they shot the show. And that I got from just picking up from conversations on Nerd Rage Radio. But, like, I don't know anything about Power Rangers. I don't really care about Power Rangers. They're not my bag. They never were. I was getting a little too old for them as they kind of came into American pop culture, and I had just found some other things that I enjoyed chasing a lot more than shows for children's entertainment. But I definitely respect the legacy and certainly the longevity that the brand has had. Now, I've looked at some of their products before from different lines. Like, I looked at the Solar Chijoken one, I believe. Like, a few have hit my desk throughout my reviewing history, but none that I've been as excited for than this one, which is from Flame Toys. Now, I love Flame Toys, but the only problem I've ever had with Flame Toys is when something had to combine. So I'm really curious to see how this shakes out. This is on loan to me from Mr. Billings of Titan 1 fame, who hit me up and asked if I wanted to take a look at it, and I said, definitely. Then he said, do you have anybody else that's gonna send you one? And I said, no. And then I think he let out a long sigh and reluctantly put his in the mail. So let's use extreme care, let's use extreme caution, and let's take a look at this figure. And today we're not gonna start with accessories. Today we're gonna kind of just move through piece by piece, assemble into robot, and then go into tank mode, and then have some final thoughts. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So we'll start with the Triceratops. You just want to take the legs, the rear legs here, and rotate them down. You can angle them differently before it starts to move. You can move these hip joints out, and then you can kind of get a little bit more play there if you so desire. Like I said, just give yourself a little bit of space. Bring them down. Same for the shoulders. Give yourself a little bit of space. And then bring them down. Rotate the dog paws. Same on this side. Rotate them down. And then you have the tail. Let me get a spudger just so I am using the most care possible. All right. And that's this fella. We have beautiful paint. The two shades of blue, the gold and silver, so obviously silver and gold. And you have these rotating kind of cannons up here. They're a little loose, but not the craziest thing in the world. Like, I don't think you have an issue with them. The head can move up. The neck extends, and the head can look down. You can also just look down with it in sections here. There's also this little tab here that you can pull down that'll lock this head out. And then you can just move it down again to release it. Brilliant kind of sculpt work and paint work. The metallic pinks, the metallic golds and silvers again. This mouth opens up, so to speak. Let me get a better spudger real quick. All right. There we go. So it has that as well. So, you know, pretty cool. Then we'll move into Sabertooth Tiger. So once again, you can just kind of free up the limbs here and then rotate the legs down. These wheels can come out and spin and close back up if you want to hide the wheels. Same on this side. And then you have the front paws, dog paws. And the tail. This tail's a little different because you gotta lift up. Golly, these little panels, man, like it's very challenging. There we go. Sorry about that. Lift that up, and then you should be able to lift up your tail / cannon with no problem. You can put that back down, maneuver your teeth ever so carefully. Whew. So I got it, but it was not easy. Definitely you want to try to move both at the same time, like they're on the same rod. But even then, it's not easy. Whew. Okay, very stressful. Let's take a look. Once again, completely painted. That painting is beautiful. The metallic reds, golds, silvers, etc. Really shine through. You have the tail that moves, and you can kind of position your cannon however you'd like. You have a little bit of waist articulation, actually. Like this front shoulder bit can go down. It can come up, kind of up to preference. There's also a spin. That goes the same for the Triceratops also. You have kind of back and forth movement here, a little lateral, not the most in the world. And then you have the knee and the ankle and an ankle rocker. Same for that. Front ones, forward and back, little bit of lateral, full collapse. Paws can go up and down, and a little rocker as well. And then you have the head here once again. This can extend. There is 2 locks. There's this one here and this one here. There's also 2 different moving pieces. So this can sit up there. You can have this down here. You can lock it out. There's also this section, which moves independently away. Pretty slick. Now I just got to get it back. There it is. And then, let's see, the waist you can actually lock out too. You're supposed to do it from in here, but my fingers are not really meant for that sort of action, Jackson, I'll tell you. And then the head, you have the mouth, obviously, that goes up and down, so to speak. And then you have, you can lift the neck up. You can put the head down. Like there's an awful lot of movement that it's capable of. You know, it's honestly, it's pretty impressive. Like when I think of it and compare it to kind of like, you know, some of the Voltron, you know, attempts and so forth, like it's pretty good. Pretty good. And then we have the Mastodon or the woolly mammoth or whatever it is. The trunk moves up and down, curls around. There's a little bit of head movement, but it's very limited. The feet do move forward and back, but they only move back if you unlock this little tab. I'll try to show you. I don't know if you can see. There's a little tab there. That'll lock it so that it doesn't move backwards. This one is unlocked, so it will move backwards. You know, it's nice enough, I guess. I don't know if you need that backwards range, really, you know. And then now I've locked it again. And then these ankles here move forward and backward. And then you have a little bit of wiggle waggle with the tail. You have a beautiful paint deco with this kind of metallic onyx, along with the red, silvers, golds, the green eyes, etc. The 3, I guess, on the head. The tusks are pretty wicked. It's pretty well done. And then you have the pterodactyl, which is comprised of the wings and the sword. So there's a male and a female on the sword. You just have to line it up with the wings, and there you have it. And there's not really a whole lot else to talk about other than it's beautiful. And there's a little bit of articulation. So the head can go up and down. It can turn to the left and right. Everything, as you see, is painted with beautiful metallics and flats. The wings, you can maneuver all the way up forward. You can flap them. You can get, like, I guess technically tail movement with the blade of the sword. So for what it is, it's actually fairly dynamic for just being a wing with a sword sitting in the middle. And the under bit of it is beautiful as well. So, you know, spare no expense. They certainly did not. And this is an expensive piece, you know, so I'm glad to see that they did not, because that's what you should get. You should pay good money and get good product. And then lastly, we have this fella. You just rotate the arms out and then spin the wrists. And that's pretty much it. So there's a number of things that move here. The head, obviously the jaw opens up and down. The tongue actually moves a bit as well. It's kind of hard to, there. You see that little bit down. I'm not sure why you'd ever want it down, but a little bit up. Beautiful paint. Once again, metallics, flats, gloss, all of it. Absolutely brilliant. The little teeth sculpted well. The head goes up, down. I think there's a swivel now. Maybe not. Shoulders outward, swivel around. You have a double jointed or a single jointed elbow that gets you the full range, a wrist swivel, and then these claws open up. Once again, beautiful paint for the torso. The torso has an ab crunch forward and back. And I thought there was a second joint in here as well. Maybe that's just for when we start to transform it. Because there's some stuff like it's hard to realize like what is for, you know, this mode versus the transformation, not being familiar with the material. Like you can slide these hips out by pressing this button in and sliding the hips out, but I don't think that you're supposed to for dinosaur mode, but it's like something you can do. All right, so you can get those open, ratcheted, beautiful ratchets for the hips. They feel great. I'm hoping they're gonna hold up well. And forward and back, thigh swivel, ratcheted knee, double jointed, ankles, tilt down, tilt up slightly, slight rocker, not great, toe bend, heel spur bends, because that foot is technically on a ball peg, I think. And then you have the tail. The tail, every single piece that you see can extend, but once again, I think that's for combine mode, but that gets you wiggle and waggle at every joint. And then you can collapse it back. Hip skirts move. Yeah, pretty good. Let's take a look at them all together. And there's the team kind of all together. A ragtag bunch in my opinion, but I think it looks like what it's supposed to look like for better or worse. And I think with the design that they have, I think they did a pretty good job of capturing it. So let's go ahead and get it combined. And we'll go in the same order, which is the same order as the instructions. So fold this all up, easy peasy. You want to fold up your dog paws the way that they were before, and then you want to spin them inside of like their little sheath here until you get the track showing. So we'll do that one more again. There. And then the rear, fold these up, spin them around, track showing, toe up, spin it around, track showing. Then you have the head, you can close the mouth, open up the neck there, then we can lock it out so that it doesn't collapse while we're moving forward. Then you just rotate this up, and then there is a heel. Tight little joint. There we go. Just had to get it started off camera there. And then you just open up this and kind of keep these out to the side, and that's one ready. And we'll move on. So we're going to open up this panel here, tuck the tail in, close that panel. You can tab in your rear legs and then bring your dog paws all the way back around, and then just make sure that you have that joint as far forward as it will go. Same on this side. There we go. And then we have this bit. So once again, the neck, we know the neck rotates up, but then we also know that this piece moves independently. So that's where we want that. And then we want that heel back. We'll extend the neck. We can lock it out because we don't want anything to move on us. It's a little trickier for me. That's one of my least favorite things about this set is a lot of these like little itty bitty locking mechanisms. Sorry, there we go. And then just put these doll paws back down so they're sitting to the side. And we got to rotate these teeth back up, which I have to do off camera again, but got it. And then we'll open up these legs a little bit, I guess, and then because this is supposed to open up, there you go. And now that is ready. This one I might have to do in a couple steps. So we're going to remove the elephant head, right? That becomes the shield. The instructions are really terrible at this. If you open up the front legs here, these back legs, let me try to maneuver the light a little bit. There's a piece of black plastic that comes up and around here that connects to this gold armature in there. And you basically, these two circles here, if you push down on them, it'll release this whole thing. And that's, you can kind of get all of this going here, but that's what you want to do. I'll back out now so you can see a little bit more. Right. We're going to look at it, try to start building our arms here. So this whole piece swivels from the inside to the outside, and this piece swivels. These shoulder pads come up. You want to make sure that the plates here, I think, are pushed to the outside. And there we go. Then you want to take your hooves down here and flatten them out. Open up this panel, and you kind of want to tuck this in, but you got to have it kind of curled up in order to do so. And then bring it back down, and then that will allow you to close it. But I'll be honest, it's not the most intuitive thing in the world, but there's one. And then this bit, the wrist, you just collapse, and I don't have it quite collapsed all the way, but I'll get that off camera. You want that little notch there to be inside. And then you want to supposedly push this, which locks it, but I can't really get that to move either. The chest pieces are supposed to be slid to the inside, not the outside. 50-50 shot, right? Got it wrong. Okay, same on this side. So we're going to open up this a bit, open up the paws, doll paws, or the hooves, collapse that inside, straighten the arm out, as you collapse, you want to also connect down in here. I don't know why I'm having such problems. There. There it is. Sorted. Whew. Okay, and then collapse the wrist. This one's kind of easy. It just has to come apart like in 3 places. So we can take the sword out. Easier said than done. This part comes off. This is the waist flap. And this part comes off. That's the chest piece. Maybe that'll help us. There. So then we have the sword. I'm going to need to do some stuff with that, but we'll sort that out here in a bit. And then the wings, I think, just fold back. And I think they're ready to go. And then you have these two parts forming pieces as well. All right, we'll start with the upper body. Spin his wrist 180. So, mamma mia. And then close the snout here. Open up the chest. Collapse the snout. Move the head down. Also angle the head down. That reveals the robot head. The whole neck platform that the head is on slides up. And then once it is slid up, then you can fold it back. Then you can tuck in the T-Rex head. And then inside here is a little piece that has to be folded out. You can bring down your head. You can, oh, I think that's supposed to be in there. There. And then bring your crests forward, and then this one sort of like double hinges forward, and then tuck in your arms. All right, on the back here, you want to bring out this piece. All that sort of does is lock that tail out, I think, and then maneuver the waist up a bit, and then straighten out all of this. And I think that's it. So let's give it a try. This is supposed to come in kind of at an angle. Slide up, close up, connect together. That was easy as pie. Let's try this one. It's supposed to be the same thing. Make sure you got the feet kind of like that. Supposed to go in, slide up, locked in, clip together. I can't believe how simple that was after some of this stuff today, but welcomed by me. Tabs in the back, slots in the back. There we go. And then these come around, and there's a tab here and a hole for it to be received. And then, as you can see, we have two slots there on the front of the chest, which will correspond to two tabs in our chest plate here. And we got one last piece to do before we take a break. And that is, there's two square tabs there and a big hole for them to find their home. Insert that in, and then square the hips away. Lift up your dog paws here. These pieces slide out on both sides. And then you got two tabs in there, and you have the wings, which have two tabs. So this will come in and insert in, and that's pretty much it. I'll clean them up. We'll take a look at them. So let's take a look at the figure, and we'll get in tight on the head sculpt for Dennis. Once again, the paint is beautiful. We'll talk about the stuff that's new. We're not going to talk about the paint that we've already talked about, if that makes sense. But the head is new, right? Eyes are painted a brilliant kind of gold. There's a sharp red line underneath both. There's silver line work on the crest that looks sharp. There's gold and silver and two shades of red on the head as well, on the middle crest. Head is on a ball peg. You get up to there, down to there, swivel, attitude, works fairly well. We have the chest plate with the silver teeth, looks great, menacing, love it. This little accent there with the turquoise stripe, that all works. I'll do the wings real quick. So the same articulation, right? And it works just the same. Shoulders, we have past 90 degrees. Let me turn this real quick. because I'm guessing this is actually, honestly, supposed to be like this, right? And then like this, and then the hand. But either way, bicep swivel. We have an elbow, single hinge that gets you the full range. Even this covers down on the joint a little bit, which is nice. Wrist swivel. Thumb, well, the fingers are on individual ball pegs, I think. Yes, and then a secondary, let me lower this. You guys can't see anything I'm doing. And then a secondary and tertiary hinge, so full range of motion for the fingers. The thumb is on a swiveled hinge, so not as much, you can get straight out, I guess. I mean, you can work it, you can make it work. And then the wrists are on ball pegs, so you can swivel them, you get a little bit of up and a little bit of down. Same for the other side. Let's talk about the hips. Let's talk about the waist. So you have an ab crunch. I think that this waist extends a bit more because I can't imagine that they don't have a waist swivel there. Let me just take a look. I just think that this waist can extend a bit more and you can get a waist swivel. I'm just not comfortable pushing it to its limits. It's far too expensive. I wonder. That's it. I'm going to stop on my head. But I'm guessing it does. Hip skirts out to the side. These swivel up. We'll just take a look at one. Ratcheted. You only kind of lose it when you bump into the hip skirt here. Ratcheted forward and back. Decent range forward. Thigh swivel. Great range on the knees. Double jointed. Ratcheted, feels good. And then the ankles, we have ankle tilt down, up, a toe tilt down basically, and then a rocker. And that's going to be on both sides. This is a piece that has fallen off a couple times during the review. It sits on top of the shoulder. And I'll be honest with you, I've had a couple of these happen now. This is one. There's another one. It's a piece on the, I think on the wings that has fallen off as well. It's a bit of a bummer. And then there it is from the back. And obviously you can extend the tail and such as well. Let's do a size comparison because this guy is a little fella, honestly. I'm not exactly sure what one would be looking for scale-wise here, but, I mean, he's sizable. He's not the biggest fella in the world, so to speak, but, like, a cone head comes up to about his neckline. It's fair. Feels like a decent action figure in that regard in terms of size, but, like, I'm not even sure if it's enough for a DTOF, to be honest with you. Let me continue for a bit. To put it in perspective, there's a hot toy on a base, which I think occupies a DTOF shelf kind of nicely, and he's, as you can see, significantly smaller. So I'm not sure if this is a good size figure for this level of not only price, but quality. You know, I'm just not sure how it will display. You're going to have to find the right spot for it. I can see this actually being a little tricky, for what it's worth. We'll go over these two cannons now. They're painted beautifully, silver and gold. And it does have this handle that flips down, and this barrel does extend. Good paintwork in there. But with it folded up and collapsed like this, this notch here at the end will fit right inside of the Mastodon on both sides. The Mastodon head becomes the shield. You just take this part and flip it up, and then this becomes the handle that he holds on to. And then he'll hold on to that by his fingers kind of going through the handle, and then this tab here inserts into the palm of his hand. You just got to account for all these little fingers. There you go. Oh, not in focus though, sorry. The sword has 3 pegs. This one that doesn't have a matching partner, that's to peg into the wings. The other 2 are to go into the hands, depending on which hand you want it in. And that will peg right into the palm of his hand, and then just wrap the fingers around it. All right, so I've removed all of his weapons. We're also going to remove this chest piece here. We're going to collapse our crests. And we're also going to rotate our middle crest to the back. We're going to open up this chest piece. Well, we can fold down the shoulders. Maybe that'll give us a little bit more room. Open up this chest piece. We're going to fold in our little piece here. We're going to bring out our T-Rex head. We're going to collapse our robot head into the chest. We're going to double hinge our T-Rex head up and over. We're going to close our chest piece up. Open up this little piece here, this little door. Take your elephant head, make sure that that piece is facing out, and then insert that in. I forgot to pull the T-Rex snout out. Rotate the arms forward. This is that button we were talking about before. We're going to take off our hip skirt here. It's funny, it wanted to come off 1,000 times when I didn't need it to. And now I want it to, and it won't. Okay. Press this button, which moves the thigh out. And then you want to rotate this so that he kind of sits down on it, so to speak. We're going to take these legs here and we're going to straighten all this out. So if you have anything that was locking, make sure to remove that. There we go. There's one. And then we'll look at this side. Locking mechanisms, let's not forget. There we go. These need to come down. And you can angle these weapons up. One and two. All right, then we're going to remove our wings. We can set those to the side for a second. You have another locking mechanism here that allows you to extend the shoulders, and then you can close that back up. Close that, extend, close that back up, and then you can come around and insert your guns, which, like I said, have that little tab here. Insert it into the palm, close the hands around it, and straighten them out, and then we'll move on to the pterodactyl. So we have our separate pieces. Take your sword, plug it back in like it was for the pterodactyl mode. And then you can face the beak forward and you can face the kind of blade back. And then you have your teeth. You have 2 tabs, 2 ports. sort that out. And then you have your waist piece. Once again, port, tab. Connect that, and then you can bring these down. And there is your kind of finished piece there. So then you have your tail. Flip the tail up. It rotates. Rotate it 180. You have a port. And you have this tab. There we go. There it is. Oh, I got a piece that came loose. Anyway, I'll clean it. That's how you do it, though. I'll clean it up. We'll take a look at it. So, look, this is by far the weaker link of the three. I don't know what else to say. It's, you know, I guess it's always the weaker link of the three, to be fair. It really comes down to the pterodactyl and the kind of clearance that it has, and then the sort of balance that it's a lot of weight it puts on that back piece, and like he kind of looks like he's leaning back. I'm sure if you mess with it a ton, you could get it a lot better than what I have it, but I think that this is good enough. At least to have an opinion about and not putting any more stress on this thing. I do want to show you what it looks like next to Tiger Tracks in case you were curious. You know, it's a large figure and I think overall fairly successful. But yeah, we did it. We made it through, and you can extend those barrels too. I guess you should extend those barrels. But you get the idea. And if you have it in this mode, I'm confused why this doesn't look like a mode you'd want it in for $450 or whatever it costs. But the robot mode does kind of have that look about it. Coming from our record. Final thoughts wise, we'll start with the negative. My biggest glaring negative is honestly some of the tolerances in the arms. Just manipulating them around, they don't seem quite fully realized in the sense of how they hid the hooves. And as a result, like I think some of the bicep tension, the shoulder tension, elbows, etc., like it just doesn't feel as smooth as the rest of the figure. I also don't like the Mastodon head shield and how it works and how it holds onto the hand if you can get it to hold at all, which has been proving to be somewhat of a nightmare for me. There's a lot of little secret locks and secret tabs. I do worry about somebody forgetting every single one as it goes through and perhaps causing some damage. Speaking of damage, be very careful with those Sabertooth teeth. They are asking for it, begging to be broken. And I'm guessing there is a waist swivel. I just can't get a hold of it. If there isn't, then that's a criticism. If there is, chalk it up to the tolerances once again. And then I have a couple pieces that are like not quite glued in fully. You know, like that little piece in the shoulder that you guys got to see during the review, and there's been at least one other one. So stuff like that kind of makes it feel a little less than premium. So, and you know, even that elephant head, I gotta be honest, like there's parts you can like rotate out of the back of it that might make a difference, but it's just not the most user friendly. And I you know, I think that third mode is a little weird and wonky and doesn't quite do it for me and is a little unbalanced and puts a lot of weight just in that one little mastodon tail. That seems like it could have been better engineered, but I do like the way that it incorporates everything, so I guess that's fair. Moving on to the positives, the sculpt is great, the paint is phenomenal, breathtaking, everything that you would expect and want from Flame Toys. The materials feel great, did I say that already? If not, they do. If so, it's worth saying again. The combination sequence is actually effortless and far better than their Star Saber venture. There's a ton of growth here, which is what I'm most kind of taken back by. They've almost got it dialed in. They're almost there. I think the individual robots work kind of well. They're goofy, but they're kind of always goofy, you know what I mean? You know, and I think the transformation to get to the weird mode is kind of, it works well also, honestly. Like, it's kind of effortless with that, with the exception of the pterodactyl bit. So, like, yeah, I think if you're a Megazord fan, like, if this is your thing, like, this is probably the best one you're gonna get. It's not perfect, but it's a huge improvement from what that Star Saber was. Night and day. Like, this is workable. This is a good figure with a couple issues. That Star Saber was a nightmare. So the improvement to me is remarkable. Anyway, hope that helps. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.